The next one is that hipster. Wow. The next one is that hipster. Why can't I say hipster? Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with a tag and coffee. I've decided to do the coffee book tag, which is why you will see this fun little mug that I have. It's a hand warming mug, isn't it cute? I saw this tag a little ways ago. I honestly do not even remember where I saw it or who the creator is, so I will make sure I leave them linked down below, of course. But this sounded like fun, and I thought that this sounded like a good fall video, and since, you know, if you haven't noticed, my videos this month have been very fall related, I decided to do it this time. I don't know what it is. I love coffee year round, but for some reason when I think of coffee, I think of the fall, and I think it's because of it being warm and cozy and you want to curl up with something hot and read and candles and all of that fun stuff. So I thought this would be fun to do. There's about 8 questions here. I will leave them linked down below if you would like to do this tag yourself. But let's get started. The very first question is black, and that is name a series that's tough to get into but has hardcore fans. But the one that I have decided to go with is the Mistborn series. Now, I've only read the first one, but I feel like Brandon Sanderson fans, especially fans of his Cosmere-verse, I think is what it's called, they are hardcore fans. And I think because his books are so incredibly thick, they are hard to get into. They're very high fantasy books. And while I did enjoy the first one, The Lost Empire, The Final Empire, quite a bit, I feel like these are kind of hard to get into if you don't know his writing style, if you've never read a high fantasy before, if you don't really kind of know what you're going into, especially with this magic system being so complicated. I think his books are just hard to, especially his big thick fantasies like this, are just hard to get into, but he's got some serious fans out there. So that's my answer for this one. The second question is Peppermint Mocha, which, y'all, I love Peppermint Mocha. It's like my favorite drink. And that is the name of a book that gets more popular during the winter time or during a festive time in the year. And I'm going to go with a type of book instead of one specific book because I couldn't think of like one specific book. And I'm going to say romances. And I'm going to say romances I think they work for summer. I think people read a lot of romances during summer. But for me, I love reading romances around Christmas time. I always read a book that has some sort of Christmas tie to it, and 90% of the time, it is a romance book. But I just want something fun and fluffy, so I read a lot of romances. At the end of the year, you can read them without a lot of thought, and I think it's really good because, like, I personally get through romances pretty quickly, and at like winter times of year, you're gonna want to be around family, so it's good to have a romance that you can like jump in and out of. The next one is Hot Chocolate, and that is going to be your favorite children's book. I don't know if this means like my favorite right now or like my favorite from when I was a child. I'm gonna go with my favorite from when I was a child. You guys have definitely seen this book on this channel before. I'm taking off the cover because the cover is horrendous. But that is Where Is My Teddy by Jess Alborough. This is just a fun picture book that I just devoured when I was little. It's about this kid who loses his teddy bear and this giant bear who loses his teddy bear, and then they accidentally take the wrong one. They look, there's his with the big bear's teddy bear, and then the bear has like the really tiny one. It was just fun. I just loved this so much when I was little. So whenever I think of like a childhood favorite, this is the book that comes to mind. This is actually the copy that I had when I was little. I've kept a hold of it for all of these years. But that's my answer for this question. The next question is Double Shot of Espresso, and that is to name a book that kept you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. So I actually have a couple, but they're all part of the same series, so I'm counting them as the same one. And for me, that is the 4th and the 5th in the School for Good and Evil by Soman Chainani. The 4th is Quests for Glory, and the 5th is A Crystal of Time. I really loved all of the books in the series, but the 4th and the 5th ones specifically are very action-packed. They are very kind of mystery. You're kind of trying to solve a mystery a little bit. You're still trying to defeat the bad guy, but you're also trying to figure out who these bad guys are you trying to figure out, you know, the history behind the bad guys. And I loved it from start to finish. I was on the edge of my seat. I didn't want to do anything else except for read these books. So I didn't. I just read these books. And they were so great. And it kind of worked because double shot of espresso. I have 2 here. The next one is Starbucks, and that is the name of a book that you see everywhere. And the one that I've chosen for this is Legend Born by Tracy Dion. This one I think I see everywhere because it literally just came out, but I need to get my hands on it because it sounds amazing. I don't know too much about it, but I do know that it is an Arthurian retelling with a black main character. And I'm pretty sure it's written by a black author as well. So it sounds amazing. I've seen a lot of people who have read this that really, really love it. Like I said, I think it's super popular right now because it quite literally just came out, but I see it everywhere. I'm not even kidding you, I can't scroll through Twitter or Bookstagram or anything without seeing it mentioned, and so like I just want to read it. I just want to see what the hype's about. It sounds amazing. I love Arthurian retellings. So that is my Starbucks answer. The next one is That Hipster Coffee Shop, and this is to give a book by an indie author a shout out. And that is Roaring by Lindsay Duga. I was able to get an e-arc of this one because NetGalley was nice to me and said that, yeah, sure, why not? But this is basically set in the Roaring 20s, and it surrounds like mythical beings. One of our main characters is a siren. We've got manticores in this. We have dragons in this. We have cyclopses in this. I think we have a vampire in this. So like there's just mythical creatures out the wazoo. But the siren is thought to be very, very dangerous because she can make people do things. And the thing is, she doesn't know that she is a siren. She knows that she can kind of make people do things, so she doesn't really ever talk. And then this man who's kind of part of, not the FBI, but kind of like the FBI version of, but for specifically mythical creatures, he tries to find her. And it's a romance, and it's great, and I loved it. I read it recently, so I will leave my wrap up. I think I read it in August. That sounds right. So I'll leave my wrap up because I was completely enthralled by it. It was a book that like I started reading and then all of a sudden I realized I was halfway through and I was loving it and I had no idea how I got from point A to point B, but like it was great. So I'm gonna hype this one because I really, really liked this book and I want people to read it because I think it's great. The next one is Oops, I Accidentally Got Decaf, and that is to name a book that you were expecting more from. So don't hate me, but I'm going to say A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I read this one in August, I want to say, relatively recently, and I've seen so many people hype up her writing. I've seen so many people hype up this series. I expected great things from it, and it was just okay. I have all 3, so I do plan on continuing, because I've heard that the second and maybe even the third are better. Different people think different things, but I've heard that there are some different things that are happening in the second and third one that make those better. I like the world. I think the world that she has created is very, very clever. I just don't think, like, I didn't really care about a lot of things. The stakes weren't, like, interesting to me. I felt very disconnected from the characters in here. So that's my answer. I thought it was gonna be great, and it was just okay. Like, I didn't hate it. Do not get me wrong. I just thought it was okay. The very, very last question is the perfect blend, and that is to name a book or series that was both bitter and sweet, but ultimately satisfying. And this one is one that I'm like hyping up like crazy right now because I freaking loved this book. And that was Who I Was With Her by Nita Tyndall. This one just came out, but I was able to get an e-arc from NetGalley of this and utterly loved it. I was 20% of the way through and went ahead and pre-ordered a finished copy because I liked it so much. But this one is, I cannot tell you how much I loved this book. It is stunning. I will leave my wrap up because I read it in September above if you would like to see more. But basically this follows our main character Corinne, who her girlfriend Maggie dies at the very beginning of the book. However, no one knows that they were dating, so Corinne can't really grieve. She can't really talk to anybody about it, but she ends up getting introduced to Alyssa, who is Maggie's ex-girlfriend. And so they can kind of bond and talk with each other about their grief over Maggie, and then feelings may stir, who knows. But there's a lot of great representation in this book. I think this book is so creative. I love everything about this. It does talk about grief and the different facets of grief, especially when like one person goes through so many different stages and has grief show itself in so many different ways. That's kind of where the bitter and the sad comes through. But it's ultimately about Corinne finding herself and figuring out who she is. And it's great. Please, y'all, pick it up. It was great. But that's my answer. And that's it. Those were all of the questions in this coffee book tag. Do you like that I wore coffee earrings as well? Because I am extra. But I hope that you Whoa. Wow. What just happened? I think that was me glitching. But that is all I have for you guys today, so I hope that you enjoyed. Don't forget to chat with me down in the comments about any of the books that I mentioned, or if you have a different answer to any of the questions, I am sure you do. Let me know down below. I'd love to know your childhood favorites. I think that's a very interesting one, so let me know those down below if you would like to. But if you did like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there as well if you want to follow along on any of those. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.